for the crop. But it doesn't better.
Yeah, but you are so money and you don't even know it.
I understood that reference.
Morning, Mr. Hammond.
Your mission, should you accept it,
Steal, destroy, shadow.
assemble the team.
And here we go.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to FreeWheeling Fridays, the show where we introduce you to some of the best creators in the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions while discussing all things pop culture, because why not? I am your host, Ryan of Hand I Quote Channel, and our guest on this episode is someone who had us going in the green room earlier, kind of scared us there for a little bit, but thankfully, everything's cool. He's fine. We don't have to worry about crossing the streams and having mass hysteria with cats and dogs and whatever else is going on in the world. So please welcome, because in the words of the 1980s, there can be only one. Please welcome indie comic book writer, artist, creator extraordinaire, not just any Todd Black, but in fact, the Todd Black is here, and apparently he's got that classic pose going on. Hello, Todd. Good to see you. How are you this evening?
Happy to be here, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here too, Todd. Now, if you have any questions for Todd Black as we go throughout the course of this program, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. Be more than happy to take those as they come in respectively. And do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. And if you're watching us live or on a replay, thank you for doing that. Really greatly appreciate it. With that piece of business out of the way, Todd, when, if you can remember, when were you first introduced to comic books?
Ooh, like actual comic books or just comic book properties?
Just actual comic books. When did you first start reading these things?
My very first comic book I ever got was at Toys R Us, which I know shows my age. But Toys R Us had a free Batman Adventures comic, like the cartoon. And I remember reading them like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's just a little one-off story. And then I didn't get into like actual weekly comic books until I was 18. I was going to college, community college, and Marvel was about to do an event called Dark Reign, where basically Norman Osborn took over the world. And I was like, this sounds really cool. I would like to read this, but I didn't know if I had a comic book store near me. So I looked it up online, and sure enough, I had been close to one like all my life, and I just found out about it. So I'm like, okay. So I started reading Marvel and DC at that point, and then I've been reading ever since. So that was about 2008, 2009, something like that, and 2025 now. So about like 17 years of comic vet. So it's been quite the journey, and I've been through the highs and lows and numerous reboots of Marvel and DC and various other properties. But it's been a fun ride, and I still read comics today.
Certainly so. What would you say are some of your favorite comic book writers or artists, past or present?
Artists are always interesting because I sometimes don't even recognize them by name, but then you see the art and they go, okay, like that's good. Like Greg Capullo, obviously. I mean, him and Scott Snyder were incredible on Batman and numerous other properties. Dan Mora, I think, is really good. Let's see, like there's some really good X-Men artists right now. There's one who did the first arc of Exceptional X-Men with Kitty Pryde, and I can't think of their name right now, but like they're incredible of how they rendered like the characters and their facial expressions and all that. Writing wise, my go-tos are always Scott Snyder, obviously. He's crushing on an absolute Batman. If we talk about the absolute verse later on, I'll be a happy guy. Jimmy Palmiotti, I know him personally. He's a great guy. He's very supportive of me. Gail Simone, the iconic one herself. She's really great. Let's see who else out there. I was never the biggest Bendis fan, but I've liked some of his works. Jonathan Hickman has done some incredible stuff, especially Krakoa X-Men. There's Ryan Perot and Kyle Higgins. They, of course, were great with Power Rangers and restarting the love for them in the comics. That was great stuff. Lots of great creators out there. So it's always good to look up to like the ones that you really know are good and go like, I may not be able to be like them, but I want to have like their passion and their creativity and just have fun making comics, and I do.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And great names you pointed out, because Court of Owls, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, that was good stuff. And then you mentioned the Boom Comics, what they're doing with Power Rangers. I mean, as someone who grew up from the very beginning of 1993. I was only 6 years old at the time when that show dropped.
Yeah.
Its influence on a 6-year-old kid, which it was targeted at us, so we were the
Absolutely.
target demographic.
I watched Power Rangers from season 1, Mighty Morphin, all the way up until Super Mega Force. And then after that, the quality I felt just really dropped. And
20 years. Wow.
Oh yeah, I even did and it's lost to the internet now, sadly. But I even ranked every Power Rangers season from Mega Force to Mighty Morphin, and it was quite a journey.
Jeez, I wish I would have been on that show with you. You and I could have had some fun rankings there.
What's the worst for you?
The worst one? I mean, here's the thing. For me, this is what my run was back in the day. So I ran with PR from 1993 all the way up to 2001. So I'm MMPR all the way up to Time Force. Wild Force for me it was when it went off the deep end. It's like, really, Time Force was so good and so mature, and then it goes right back to catering to 4-year-olds. And I'm like, you guys could have kept this going if you would And the other thing is, because someone brought this up a few years ago when the Boom comics started to come out, you could have done 2 different shows. You could have done one aimed at the fans who grew up with the original property, and then you could have done a kid-friendly iteration of Power Rangers for a different set of audiences, which I think would have worked beautifully. And they don't have to be connected either. You don't have to do an MCU type thing where all 30 shows or all 2 shows are connected, but you could have done 2 separate pocket universes where there's one for the fans who grew up in 1993, and then there's ones who are coming into it just now with their families. And that's great. It's wonderful. That would have worked. But Wild Force for me was when I got off the wagon. I was like, okay, I'm growing up now. I need to think about other things, move on to other projects, even though I wasn't in the
Wild
wasn't
Force
in the comics at the time, but
Wild Force was one of the worst by far. The weird thing was that I remember listing the things I liked about Wild Force, and I'm like, I liked a lot of things about Wild Force, except the entire cohesive thing. Where you say, where it's like, oh, this movie had this going for it and this going for it, but then you watch the movie and you're still not satisfied because it's like, you had the elements, but you didn't bring it together. Like Wild Force has one of the best villains ever in Zanaku. I loved Zanaku. Zanaku was awesome, and then they're just like, no, we're going to do super campiness and whatever. But Operation Overdrive is wildly considered the worst of the worst. And terrible theme song, terrible Rangers, the plot twist with he's a robot. Like, what the heck?
Didn't make a whole lot of sense.
No.
But for me, my favorite season is Time Force. That's my favorite season.
Time Force was number 5 for me. Top 5, I still remember this. Okay. Top 5 was Time Force, SPD, Lightspeed Rescue, Zeo, and Mighty Morphin.
Wow. Okay. Good list. Not too shabby there. I think if I had to put a top 5 together now, hypothetically, one would be Time Force, because as I stated before, that's my favorite season. My second favorite would probably be Lost Galaxy. I think Lost Galaxy took things into a different, more mature direction to a certain degree. With Terra Venture, that was cool. And having the Space Rangers and the Galaxy Ranger crossover was great. I thought that was brilliant. I think number 3 would be Lightspeed Rescue for me. I think that's a season that gets a bit overlooked at times, but it's really, really because it's Earthbound to a certain extent, even though the monsters are demons from another world, but whatever. Who cares? And then, and then 4, I think 4 would be In Space. In Space, I think, was pretty good. It's not as good as I remembered it many years ago. I don't think it holds up quite as well as some of the other seasons, but it's still good. It's still good. And then number 5 for me, I got to think about this because, let me see, it was either Zeo, just because we got the 6th Ranger with it being gold and Jason comes back, I thought was great. Because I've always been a Red Ranger fan from the beginning, and when he came back as the gold Zeo, that was badass mother effer. Right there. That was he was basically pulling a Jules from Pulp Fiction. He's a badass mother effer, for sure. And Woody is here. He says hello to Ryan and guests. That would be the Todd Black, as you're referring to Woody. Good to see you. And the Madness Entertainment Group has an interesting question for you. He says, "Hey Todd, who cut your hair?"
No one has touched this hair since 2019, and that's a fact.
I see. Fun fact for everybody at home. But I think get that comment out of here. But then number 5 would probably be Mighty Morphin, just because it's nostalgia. It's not very good. I mean, from its, when you look back on it, it's very cheesy, not very good, but at the same time, it's nostalgia, and the theme song and the Zords are iconic to this day. The Megazord is
And when you think of
Yeah.
Power Rangers, you think of Power Rangers. You think of Mighty
The first
Morphin.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of the
I mean,
original, which is fair,
sure.
which is
Yeah.
completely fair.
And it's the thing, like, that one was one where they're like, you know, they had to adapt Super Sentai, and it was the longest of the series, so obviously there was a lot of cheesy elements, but it had a lot of heart. It had, you know, Tommy and everything green with evil, and then the White Ranger, and, you know, the ninja swords, and shoguns, and those, like, this was what we grew up on, and then everything got to build off of that. So without MMPR, it doesn't matter what came next because it wouldn't have happened.
Well, that's actually fair. And the Madness Entertainment Group says, "I'm proud of you, bro, for keeping the same hair for the last 6 years going."
Yep. Only good-looking thing on me.
Gee willikers. Once again, this is Freewheeling Fridays with the Todd Black. Don't forget to like and share this. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. And if you're joining us live or what is known as a replay, thank you for doing so. So it kind of segues into our next question. What would you, outside of Power Rangers, what were some of your favorite TV series growing up?
Oh, well, I grew up in the golden age. We grew up in the golden age of superhero cartoons. So Batman animated series, Superman animated series, Spider-Man, X-Men, Justice League, Batman Beyond. Then, of course, when we got the 2000s, we had Teen Titans, we had Avatar: The Last Airbender, like all the great stuff. And then because of the timing of it all, I got to grow up on like the classics of the 80s, like the Thundercats and SWAT Cats. That was 90s. He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and all the other great ones. Samurai Jack was amazing. That was a fun one to grow up on. There was just so many cartoons that, you know, it was the golden age for so many, and it's definitely inspired me in some of my comic creations. So, you know, very, very. Oh, Scooby-Doo. Obviously, I was a huge Scooby-Doo fan. Yeah.
I grew up watching Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf.
Oh, the red shirt Shaggy movies. Yeah. Like, it was a great movie, man.
Yeah, he was wearing a red shirt and Reluctant Werewolf. You're absolutely right.
I know.
That was my Scooby-Doo experience as a kid. So thank you to the studio for putting that one together. I said the crowd is electrified, and it's just get out of here.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
Shaggy.
Good Lord. Yeah, that's nostalgia there for you folks. What would you say were some of your favorite movies growing up? Any ones that stand out to you?
Well, I have to remember. I mean, I grew up on Disney Pixar for sure.
Nice.
The original Pokemon movies, when those came out to theaters, Pokemon, the first movie was like, you know, a transcendent experience. Same with Digimon movie. A big Digimon fan growing up. Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh,
yeah.
Monster Rancher, Beyblade. that was a fun one. Yeah. See, other animes was Dragon Ball, Code Lyoko, Outlaw Star, my all-time favorite. But yeah, movies. It's hard to remember movies for some reason, but mainly Disney Pixar stuff.
So Toy Story, I'm assuming, would end up in that equation.
All Toy Stories. I've seen all 4 Toy Stories in theaters. Great. Cried so much during the third one.
Yeah.
It was
great.
It was powerful. Very
great
powerful.
movie.
Great movie.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. But like Up was great. Also cried during Up. Who doesn't? Anyone who hates the first like 10 minutes are heathens, and I don't want to talk to them. WALL-E, I saw it. Okay, WALL-E was funny because I watched that one at home, and then my mom and dad were watching it with me, and then mom left the room. And I'm like, Mom, why don't you go watch WALL-E with us? And she goes, how can I? There's no dialogue. I'm like, you don't need the dialogue, Mom. The animation speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. Okay? Yeah. It speaks for itself.
WALL-E. There you go. That's one.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, Toy Story is iconic. Speaking of which, did you know that Toy Story turns 30 this year?
Gods, I feel old.
I know. We're getting way too young for this stuff. But anyway, good picks, though. Good picks. I'm surprised you didn't mention MMPR, the movie. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
I have the movie. Ivan Ooze. Yeah, that was a... Yeah. He was great. And now it's time to play the piper.
That's right. And Paul Freeman, who's the same actor who played Belloc in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Who knew?
True story. True story. I've met him too. I've met Ivanus in real life. I met Paul Freeman. Nice man. Nice man.
Very
He
cool.
is. He's a very nice gentleman, and signed an 8x10 of his time on set for Power Rangers, which was nice.
There was a con I do called Saluki Con, also called Eclipse Con during this year, and for a few years straight they had a Power Rangers panel, and so I was asked to host the panel because I was their Power Rangers expert. So I got to meet Ethan from Dino Thunder, Trent from Dino Thunder, Trent from I said Trent. Ryan from Lightspeed Rescue, Titanium Ranger. He was great. I got to meet who was Pink Ranger in Lightspeed Rescue? Dana. Dana. Yeah, I got to meet her. She was great. I met Dino Charge's Red Ranger. Can't think of his name.
Oh my gosh.
I know, but it was great, and they were all very nice to me. And Red Fisher was Ryan.
Yeah, he was Red Fisher. Yeah,
we actually still talk sometimes on social media because he remembers. I gave him a very memorable answer one day, and he like always remembered that. And so I'm just like, that's cool. I got a Ranger on my side. So I'll tell you one story. It was it was with Ryan, Trent, and Ethan. Yeah, and there was this kid in the audience, and he said he was asking him a question, and it was about the late great JDF, Tommy Oliver, and he said like. So it was something about his number of Ranger forms, and he goes, something about like him saying like he was 3 different Rangers, and he was like an 8-year-old kid at least. And I said, well, actually, he was 5 different Rangers, and I named all 5, and the death glare that he gave me, I was like, Ranger, save me! He's gonna kill me. So, like, I'm sorry, but this is my nostalgia. So you better get the facts right, kid. Don't ask questions you don't know the answers to. I am that nerd. Yeah, no, I completely get it. I mean, grew up on the same kind of seasons in the format here, so I completely get it. And I know Tommy for a fact. He played 5 Rangers, and then he played King, Lord Draken in the comics. Which makes sense, right? So. Yeah, no, that's cool. You've met some of the Rangers I haven't met yet, because I've met, I'm blanking on her name, but the one who played Dana the Pink Ranger in Lightspeed Rescue, I'm blanking on her name. I'm so sorry. Kate McGinnis. Yes. Kat McGinnis. Yeah. She is quite beautiful. She's great. Still to this day. Allison McGinnis is her name. Allison McGinnis. Thank you. Yeah. I'm actually friends with her on Facebook. I mean, we don't like chat a lot, but like we're friends. It counts. Yeah, it counts. Yeah. No, she's quite beautiful. But anyway, she was very nice. Some people just seem to age very well, or just not age at all. But I've met everybody except some of the Lightspeed Rescue cast, members of the Lost Galaxy cast. I haven't met them yet. Believe me when I tell you, as soon as I meet all the cast members of Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, even though I've met Dana, Lightspeed Rescue, I think I'm pretty much done. I mean, I've met all the Rangers, me personally, that I've wanted to meet. So I'm doing pretty okay on my scorecard of X amount of Rangers I've met, because I've met a lot of all the OGs that are still with us, of course. Yeah, I met David Yost at a C2E2 once. I met the late great JDF once. I met him 4 times. Yeah. Rocky, I met him. Yeah, that's Steve Cardenas. Steve Cardenas, right? Met him. Bulk and Skull, met them. They were funny. Yeah, they're always funny. Yeah. they were funny. So. Yeah, it's always a cool thing meeting the Rangers. So yeah, it's just out of curiosity though, as a follow-up question here, that outside of the original theme song, Go Go Power Rangers, what's your favorite theme song? Oh, now that's a great one. Basically everything in my top 5: MMPR, Zeo, SPD, the Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, a legendary theme songs. In Space had a great one. Lost Galaxy. Jungle Fury. Jungle Fury is very underrated. Like that one has like one of the more upbeat ones, but it's got some of the best lyrics. I think that was like Jungle Fury is a great season overall. Let's see, and that was actually one of the things I really didn't like about Samurai and Megaforce and basically everything that came after that. They didn't go for original theme songs. They just did like remixes of Go Go Power Rangers. Yeah, the original. Yeah. Half the point was that they were their own entities and that they had these special vibes. Like everyone felt different than the other. That was just like, go, go Power Rangers. Don't you ever stop. Go, go Power Rangers. You will rise up to the top. Like stuff like that. I'm like, that's nice, but that's not original. Like, be original. This is what made the series last for so long. So
that's a fair point. That's a fair point. You know, one of the ideas, maybe we can do this somewhere down the line when the schedule opens up. We should do a Power Rangers, retrospective or something. We should just talk about it. Talk about our seasons, talk about our moments, talk about our characters, and some things we liked about the property, some things we didn't like about the property, some things they could improve on moving forward whatever the future is going to be down the line. Yeah. We could basically, speculate a little bit.
Yeah. Things I didn't like. Things I didn't like. I never got to be a Power Ranger. Currently I would love to write Power Rangers, but I haven't gotten that opportunity yet. So
yeah. Hey, but one can dream, ladies and gentlemen.
One can dream.
Nothing wrong with.
I have plenty of dreams, and then they slowly get shattered one by one.
Well, we do hope the goals and the dreams you want to accomplish do come to fruition.
Yeah.
With all due respect, what would you say are some of your favorite comic book-based movies or TV series, past or present?
Oh, no, that's another great question. There was a tweet recently about the Arrowverse and like the schedule that we had on the CW. Like Mondays Arrow, Tuesdays Flash, Wednesdays Legends of Tomorrow, and so on and so on. And like God's the Arrowverse. I mean, the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, but you were there for it. Arrow is by and large one I feel one of the greatest properties. And people say like, but that wasn't really Green Arrow. That was like the Batman version of Green Arrow. I'm like, in a way, but they still did lots of good stuff with Oliver Queen to make him different from Bruce Wayne. I mean, we never got Batman in the Arrowverse technically. So that was great. If we're talking about Superman and Lois was great. I definitely cried during the ending, but it also was just like, really, that's how you want to end it? So like mixed feelings, as it were. Let's see. Movie wise, I'm gonna get so much flack. I don't know where you stand on this issue, but I was a fan of the Snyderverse. Yeah, that's me. I actually have the Batman statue right there from BVS, and then I have armored Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman behind that wall. Big fan of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I love Man of Steel. The Snyder Cut forever. Aquaman. Aquaman was actually really good. Like that first Wonder Woman, obviously. Let's see, Marvel-wise, my favorite Marvel movie is Guardians of the Galaxy, first one. Captain America First Avenger was incredible. First Avengers, Infinity War, Endgame, obviously. Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh, my favorite of the trilogy by far. Let's see. There's been X-Men. X-Men has good ones. First two X-Men films. First Class, Days of Future Past. I liked Apocalypse. I honestly did. I know some of you are burning my nerd card right now. Deal with it. But let's see, what other ones are there? I've seen some other good ones over the years. Judge Dredd, Carl Urban. I know a lot of people want a sequel for that one. That was a very interesting film. So, there's been a lot of good ones. And then, like, just recently with both DC and Marvel, there's ones where I'm just like, what did I just watch? All right. Creature Commandos. No. Just no. I watched Captain America, Brave New World recently. Incredibly average. Like Sam Wilson deserves so much better, and I know Anthony Mackie could have done even better with better material. Like the trailers ruined the whole movie. I mean, like if you know, you know. But I don't know what's going to happen with the MCU going forward. They've just lost the plot, like almost literally and figuratively. They've lost the plot. So I have hope. And then of course, there's the question about the James Gunn verse. I don't know. I'll give Superman a try. But who knows where that's going to lead, especially with all the weirdness that's going on with WB right now. So I'm sad to say that I feel the golden age of comic adaptations is over between both DC and Marvel. But there's always hope, and then there will be those ones that are like, that one was really good. Like that one's good. Like I look forward to watching Daredevil. I'm going to binge it all when it comes out. But I'm hearing good things, outside of a certain death that should never have happened. How dare you, Marvel? That was spoiled to high heaven. But you know, we take what we can get, and we just hope that we can keep getting at least some good stuff. So we'll see.
No, I gotcha. And no. I'm a huge fan, and I've supported this film for 12 years now? I've been a fan of Man of Steel since day one. I saw Man of Steel 5 times in the theater. I have no regrets.
Yeah.
I cried during that movie. It's a criminally underrated film. Henry Cavill was born to do 2 things. One, play Superman for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And then the next thing he was born to do was play James Bond. So, you know, if they're going to recast James, which we know they are because they're in the process of redeveloping the series right now, cast Henry Cavill. He was born to play it. He auditioned for that role in 2006 before Daniel Craig got the role. So give it to Henry. He's earned it. He's earned it. I mean, his audition tape is on social media and it's raw. It's not very good, but he was young. He was learning his craft at the time. But now that he's gotten all his ducks in a row and he's doing all these different projects, including DC and Mission Impossible, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was another pseudo audition to play James Bond. The Witcher, he's done all these different genres and all these different characters. It's like, give the man his credit, man. I mean, he's worked his tail off. But anyway, Man of Steel I loved. BVS, the BVS director's cut is really solid, I think. And the score, man, the score is so just freaking amazing. Hans Zimmer's a beast from the East, a monster of the West. I love that. He's the cat's pajamas. He's great. I love Hans Zimmer. Who doesn't? He's been in the business for 45, 50 years now. It's insane. I did like a lot of the things they were doing with the DC cinematic universe that Snyder was putting together. Unfortunately, we just never got the rest of it due to studio interference, behind the scenes politics, studio interference, all that kind of jazz. But listen, Man of Steel is still with us. BVS is around. You can find all these films on physical media streaming services all over the country. So it's like, just watch them to your heart's content. And I do like Aquaman. I think the first Aquaman is really, really good. It's a badass mother effer film because Jason Momoa shows up on that sub in the first 10 minutes. Permission to come aboard. Yeah. And then he just starts wrecking shop. Yeah. And I'm like, I can watch this dude just wreck shop.
See, and that's the thing. Like, people, this is what I will be a Snyder supporter, not fanatic, because I mean, I have critiques. Who doesn't?
Yeah, but I like Snyder.
Yeah, I like Snyder, but like, he had a vision of what he wanted Aquaman to be because he was tired of him getting blasted because of the Super Friends cartoon. Yeah, a cartoon that is so pervasive that even if you don't have never seen it, you think Aquaman isn't a fool because of that cartoon. And he goes, "We need to change this," and he found the guy to change it. It's Jason Momoa. And sure, he wanted to be Lobo, but he revitalized the Aquaman character because he brought it to the role. And that was Zack Snyder. So be grateful.
It's very true. It's very true. And good point. But yeah, I agree with you on a lot of different things. And yeah, I've been an X-Men fan since '92's animated series on Fox Kids. So I've been an X-Men fan for years and years and years. And X-Men is such a great property, different it's a great way to explain certain things about what's going on in the world or how you can relate to somebody in a certain way, because with all the different themes that are explored within the X-Men universe. So well done. Once again, we are here with the Todd Black on FreeWheeling Fridays. Don't forget to like and share with all of your closest friends if you have any questions for them or favorite memories about your favorite shows or movies. Let us know in the comments or the chat. And if you're joining us live or on the replay, thank you for doing so. But yeah, good picks, man. We're simpatico here. What exactly? It's a great movie too. What made you decide to become an indie comic book writer or artist? How did that happen?
Well, I was told I would make a lot of money. That's a lie. Obviously, that's a lie.
Okay, I was gonna say, is that your real E True Hollywood story? Get out of here.
No. Well, like I said, I grew up on the golden age, or what I consider the golden age of like superhero cartoons and such, and so as I was growing up and watching all these amazing shows, both superhero and anime and everything in between, like Power Rangers, I would start putting myself into the stories that I was watching and coming up with my own ideas. By the time I got to college, I finally went to my first Comic-Con, which was C2E2 in Chicago. And I had an idea for a comic book, but I just wasn't really sure how I was going to do it. So I went to a panel called Making Comics the Marvel Way. And Matt Fraction, who was in the middle of his Invincible Iron Man series, was there. And I said, "Hey, I'm a writer. I want to make comics. What do I do?" And he goes, "Okay, look, if you're a writer and you want to make comics, you go find an artist and you make comics." I'm like, "Okay." So fast forward 2 years because you need money to make comics, and I was a college kid, so I definitely didn't have that. I started looking online for like scripts that I could reference on how to do things, and I found some artists. I made my very first comic, which is a superhero series called Guardians. And after some ups and downs and trying to figure out how to get things out there, I started cranking out the issues. I started going to Comic Cons. I started to try and like learn my craft and talk to a whole bunch of other people. And eventually just one thing led to another. I kept making more books. I started doing successful Kickstarters, which I'm sure some of you might have seen me on the Madness Network recently because I was promoting my anime comic, Tokyo Blade Detectives, which you can still get late pledges on for Tokyo Blade Detectives #9. And I just kept making and creating, and I've done comics, I've done novels, I've done graphic novels, I've done a whole bunch of things, fan fiction, I've done a lot of that. And now I've gotten over 50 books in my name, and I'm still making projects. So it's been quite a journey, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Except the money part. Definitely want more money.
I was going to say, don't we all?
Don't we all?
I know, don't we all? We need to win the lottery first. But anyway, I know the chances against winning the lottery, I don't know, more like 1 in 12 million. Anyway, flip side of the coin, though, what would you say are some of the biggest rewards about being an indie comic book writer?
The biggest thing for me, as just speaking as a writer, is that I have so many ideas in my head. Like you were just talking about X-Men, how great a property that is. One of my dreams would be to write an X-Men series. I have ideas. I know what characters I would love to write. That's just how my brain works. And you have these ideas, but then they're like stuck there, And they always say like the difference between a writer or like a comic creator and a comic dreamer is that the dreamers dream, but the makers make. And so for the longest time, all I had were my dreams and my ideas, but being able to find artists and get a following on Kickstarter has helped me to actually visualize this stuff. And like I said, I got 50 books in my name, and that didn't happen by accident. I had to grind it out and make things work and put my ideas to paper, or in my case, Microsoft Word, and flesh it out and be able to pitch it to people on Kickstarter at Comic Cons. And I feel like I've done well for myself overall. I got a couple Comic Cons coming up later this month at Planet Comic Con and Big River Comic Con and Peoria Con. So I look forward to going there and doing my best to sell my books. And I'm excited for what's coming next with some of the projects I've got going. And I keep having ideas. So clearly I'm still passionate about creating things. So there's just nothing better than first knowing that people want to get your stuff, which is always a fear on Kickstarter. But the second thing is like getting the book and holding it in your hand saying, I made this. This is mine. I did that. So that is a great feeling by far.
Oh, most definitely. On a different side here, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges about being an indie comic book writer?
Money.
Aside from the fact that we all need money and winning.
No, well, okay, I'm going to go a little deeper into that because it's not just about getting the money, it's about having the money. Because like I said, the reason I didn't start like right out of that C2E2 panel is that I didn't have money to pay an artist. I had to work a terrible job just to try and make funds for myself. And I'm like, I'm dying at this job and I have the money, might as well pay to make a comic book. But like I said, I have so many ideas, and I would love nothing more than to hire multiple artists to, okay, you're on this project, you're on this project, you're on this project, you're on this project, but I'm not there yet. There are people who are making like, tens of thousands of dollars on comics, and then they can, work on multiple comics. I have multiple friends who do like 1 to 2 Kickstarters every month, if not every other month. And that's because they're at that level where they're raking in all that money, and I'm not there yet, and that's okay. I'll work to get to there. But it is hard because every Kickstarter is a challenge. I just did one for Tokyo Blade Detectives, as I said, and it's been over a year since I did one for that series. And I'm just like, are people going to come back? And some did, and some didn't. And I got like 30 new backers, which is great. But I know you're always hoping for more. And then you're like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? I was like February, which was when the Kickstarter was, I was grinding like every day, promoting and posting and trying to get people to back. And I was just trying to get 2 backers a day. And thankfully, I got that overall. It was like 20 people pledging on the final day. I'm like, come on, people, where were you the other days? But it is a challenge. And then there's this stress of, you could do like one thing. Like my biggest weakness by far is my marketing. I try hard, and I really went hard with this last one, but I struggle with it. And then because people get successful in different ways, you think they tell you, oh, you need to do this. But this doesn't always equate to success. And so you're trying all these things. You're literally like throwing things at the wall to see if it'll stick. And you just get tired. And I'm always exhausted after Kickstarters. And I know some other people who've had to wait until the last day to get their funding and then go above it. And they were like, oh, I'm so exhausted. I'm like, yeah, right here, you, man. And then you got to worry about, finishing the comic and then fulfilling the comic. And then you're like, okay, now I got to start working on the next one. Like I'm already thinking about when my next Kickstarter will be, which will probably be June. And this is like, there's always something in the works, and you're always pushing, and it can be really tiring. That's why some people don't make it in the biz, because there's like, this is too much, and it's too stressful, or I'm not doing enough. I was on a Discord recently, and a person said that they're probably going to pause writing and creating for a while because it's just not worthwhile for them anymore. And I felt bad for them because I'm not there yet, and I'm going to work my butt off to hope that I don't get there. But that fear is always there because I'm not getting paid, like the Scott Snyders or the Palmiottis, Jimmy Palmiotti does his own thing with paper films, and he makes a lot of money on Kickstarter. And Gail Simone's doing X-Men, and Kyle Higgins and Ryan Perot are doing the Radiant Verse, and that's like a huge success for Boomer Image, one of them. And you were like, I want to be to their level. I'm like, yeah, everyone does, but that's why you got to do your own thing. And then that the struggle is always there. And I will always encourage people, try and make indie comics, but be ready. Be ready for the struggles to come, because I was not prepared when I started out for what was coming with, trying to sell comics and getting enough to do Comic-Cons and everything. And my first Comic-Con, I had 7 issues of Guardians, and that was it. And that was not wise, but you live and learn. And I'm still learning to this day. I'm always asking creators, what do you think about this? Should I do this? What should I try this? And it worked out really well with the last Kickstarter, and I'm going to apply it to the next one. And then later this year, I'm going to do a Kickstarter for a brand new series, and I'm going to have that stress all over again, because there's no guarantee that my Tokyo people will come to pledge to this one. And so it's always a struggle to make indie comics, but we do it because we love it. We do it because we believe in our stuff, and we want to get these stories out of our heads. So we endure the struggles and we keep pushing forward.
Yeah, the struggle is always real, folks.
Yes.
Keep that in mind as we go along, whatever
Yeah.
industry that you're in. Hashtag the struggle is real. I've
Yes.
mentioned on social media numerous times over the years. So just throwing that out there. So you brought up some good points. Are there any other pieces of advice you would give to aspiring indie comic creators out there?
The number one thing I always tell, and I've been very consistent on this over the years, is that the number one thing is you have to believe in your comic. It doesn't matter if you're a writer or an artist. I'm not on the writing side. But you have to believe, because if you don't believe, you're never going to get it done. And the way I like to think of it is, if you don't believe in your story enough, why would your readers? Every story I have made, from Guardians to Home, 2,000 Miles, Take the House, As We Went to the Stars, Tokyo Blade Detectives, I wanted nothing more than to make this story, to make these stories. And with my next project, Crusader Mysteries, I've been trying for like 2 years to find the right artist to make this, because I believe that wholeheartedly in the project, that I want like the best art to complement the story so that it would really resonate with people. And that belief carries me. And I've got ideas in my head for, I got like 3 manga ideas that I want to do. I've got a space cowboy anime that I want to do. I've got multiple novels in my head that I either want to finish, or I know the next book in this series. And the reason I'm able to say, okay, I'm going to get to those, I'm going to get to this one, I'm going to get to this one, is because I believe in them. I believe in all of them, and I want nothing more than to make them and have them on my table one day. So if you are a writer and you have ideas in your story, believe in them, believe that they deserve to be made, and then go make them. And then for artists, believe in your art. It might take you a while to get to the place where you're getting hired by comic creators. That's totally fine. Keep practicing, keep drawing, keep trying, keep improving, and then go for it. All right. I'll give you an example. One of my first artists was Alex Garcia, and he was the first colorist for the Guardians series. And I had a different inker for issue number 0, our very first issue. And then the inker had to leave. Alex said, "Hey, I can do it." I had no position to say no because I wanted to keep going. And if you look at where Alex started with Guardians number 1 and where he is now with all of our other projects, including like Take the House, which we did last year, as a heist graphic novel, and some of the other things he's done with me, it's night and day. I mean, this guy has done close to 30 books with me. No, over that. Yeah, pretty close. 30 or above. So 30 of my 50 books are because of Alex Garcia, and he keeps improving. I keep giving him challenges, say, hey, do this better, try this, do this style, let's do this kind of visual thing. And he's like, yeah, okay, I can do that. The only thing he does not like to do is animation. We did one animation project together. He hated doing it. And he's like, don't ask me to do that again, Todd. But so outside of that, don't do what you don't feel you can do. That's a different kind of belief. But he believed in his artwork. He got better. And now I can't imagine not doing projects with Alex. So whether you're a writer or artist, believe in what you do, believe in the comics you want to make, and you will make them. And then you will have the drive to do the next one.
Teamwork makes the dream work, folks.
I would not be here without my team, and that's a fact.
Yeah. So I'll give you that one. Once again, we are here with Highlander himself, the Todd Black, on this episode.
Who's my Connery? That's a good question for my life. Who is my Connery?
Heck if I know. But I will say, if you're just joining us live, don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you're watching us live on the replay, thank you for doing so. If you have any questions or thoughts about any of this stuff, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. I'm more than happy to take those as I come in. So let's address this here for a minute. So this bad boy right here, this is interesting.
Yeah.
So what exactly are we looking at here, and how did this story come about?
Okay, this is one of my personal favorite stories, Home Alicia's Tale, because this was the first series I did outside of Guardians. I did Guardians for 20 straight issues because that's all I knew. That was, you make a series and you take it as far as you can go. At the time, Oni Press was doing open submissions. And I was like, oh, this is my chance to try and get in with the publisher. So I looked at their requirement, and there were 2 things that they said very, very clearly. 1, no superhero stories. Darn it. And 2, it has to be either graphic novel or miniseries. So I didn't have either. So I was thinking, okay, what? I had this grand idea, like multiverse, wheels within wheels story. And then I read, oh, it needs to be 5 issues or less. I'm like, shrink it, how do I compress? And that became Home, and I submitted that and the next book, 10,000 Miles, which is actually inspired by Scooby-Doo, and partially. And I submitted both of them to Oni Press. They didn't get picked, so I'm just like, well, I'll do it myself. I'll go Thanos on it. So this was my first successful Kickstarter project. A very stressful time of my life for sure, but we got all 5 issues funded on Kickstarter. It's one of my best sellers at cons. They love the story. It's about a young woman named Alicia who gets taken from our world and thrown into another dimension, a realm of knights and monsters. Now she's stuck there, having to help them with their problems so that she can get home, if she wants to go home. And I left the story open-ended so that I could always come back to it, but I always have another comic project. So I'm just like, I'll get back to you, Alicia. Well, I mean, not Alicia. That's part of the fun of the story, but it was very informative for me because I had to work with different artists because Alex was working on something else. And it was just, I had to write in a miniseries style. So, I had to have a definitive ending for the story. It was Kickstarter, which I had done a few times before, but never really got to a good level. I had never gotten funded by that point. It was just like every time was heartbreaking because I really believe in this. But this was the one where I finally broke through, and then this led me to understanding certain things about comics and Kickstarters. And without Home, I wouldn't be where I am today because Kickstarter has obviously been a big part of my career.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, congratulations on that and
Thank
everything
you.
that's come since then, for sure. And we mentioned something about this a few moments ago, folks. Teamwork is what makes the dream work. And if you have something that you love, it's never called work. But with that being said,
Well,
yeah,
thanks.
well, it is work. In your case, it's work. But for certain people, if you find something you love, it's not called work. It depends on who you ask, though.
Yeah, and again, it depends on the field. Like, I love what I do, but I hate Kickstarters because there's always like, every day, why aren't I getting backers? When's the slump coming?
True.
Fulfillment sucks. I mean, like writing down all the addresses that you're sending it to people, making sure you get them all the rewards. I mean, you do it because you're like, you're trying to be loyal to your customers, but I hate writing that much. Like, give me typing all day.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. That could be a struggle for individuals for sure. But we do our best to support others, and indie comics out there are great. They're wonderful. They're the best, some of the best things in the world today. Indie comics in general is what I'm speaking of. We do our best to support others. So without any further ado, we have some very cool people that we'd like to introduce you to real quick. So take a look at some of these great indie creators out there. You might like something, but you don't have to take my word for it. Boy, if that's not creepy enough, I don't know what is.
If you live in a place called Slaughterville, you're on your own. Like, I ain't gonna feel sympathy for you. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's just not my style, for sure. But no, you mentioned some stuff that's happened to you at Comic Cons. Any other special memories for you from being at conventions, whether you're there as a vendor or attendee?
Well, plenty. I've had I've met many celebrities. How about this one? Are you a fan of Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain?
Well, I grew up on them, but I wasn't necessarily a big fan of them. But I do respect the voice actors because I've met Rob Paulson. He's a nice guy.
So that's one of my stories. I was at, what was it? I think it was, it's now a defunct con. It was actually in Philadelphia. My only time I've ever been there. And Rob Paulson and Maurice LaMarche were there. And so the con itself was not the best. I did okay, but it wasn't worth the trip. And they're there, and this is my first time getting the chance to meet them. So I go and I sign up for their meet and greet or their photo op. And at that show was the late Kevin Conroy. My only chance to meet him. I'm so glad I did it. But his photo shoot, op, whatever, was literally, I went in, I said, "Hello, Mr. Conroy," and he went, "Hi, Todd." And I was like, oh, melted right there. So we did the photo op, and then I was just about to ask him a question, and then the photographer goes, "Next!" And I'm just like, okay. So, not the best. But then later on, I met Paulson and LaMarche. So I go in and I'm fully expecting, jump in, jump out. So I take the picture with them, one on each side, and then the photo snaps and they pause, they turn around and they start chatting with me. And I'm just like, really? Like, I'm tongue-tied because I'm just like, these legendary men are talking to me, and they had a decent line too. And it's just like we're talking about. It was like I talked about how I love anime, speaking the brain, and whatever. But it was a great time. So later on, I go to C2E2 like a year or two later, and all the Animaniacs crew is there. And so Robin, Maurice, and the main Animaniacs are on the stage. Or the other two Maniacs are on stage, and it's my turn to ask a question. I had a funny question lined up for them, but I went to him and go, Mr. Paulson, Mr. LaMarche, I know you don't remember me, but we met a few years ago at this con in Philadelphia, and I wanted to thank you because other times I do photo ops and I get the picture and I have to be rushed right out. You took the time and talked to me for like a minute before I had to go. And Paulson goes, wait, we talked to you for like a minute? We were jerks to you then. And the whole place erupted. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, well, we should talk to you more. I mean, it's not that long of a period of time. And so they go off on like a little mini rant about it and like, having to, really wanted to interact with the fans. And then the moderator eventually stops and goes, I'm sorry, did you have a question? I'm like, yeah, but nothing's going to top what they just said. And the whole crowd clapped for me. And that was a very funny moment because you always wonder if the celebrities are nice in real life or if they're just like putting on a mask, And I have met some who you could kind of tell were putting on a mask, and other ones were incredibly kind to me. I met Keith David last year and at Planet Comic Con, and I literally said, "Sir, I'm here to bask in your greatness," and he like laughed and he was really good about it. He like sings to people in line from Princess and the Frog and all of that. And there's some really good ones, and there are others just like you could tell that they were just like there for the money and whatnot. But Comic-Con's great. I love going there. I bring friends when I can. I even invited my family to an upcoming one because they had Lord of the Rings in the Breakfast Club at C2E2. I was just like, you could come. We could like get cool photos together and all that. But Comic-Con's a special place. It's been a defining factor in my life. I've bought so many things there. And you can't see it, but I got a Master Sword and Shield from Legend of Zelda that's on the wall. I got that from Comic-Con. Got a Superman statue from Comic-Con. Comic-Con's a beautiful place, and there's so many all over the country and the world. So if you get the chance to go to Comic-Con, especially like one of the bigger ones, where there's like a lot of cool vendor booths and things to see, it's so worth it.
I wholeheartedly agree. I've been going to conventions for 13 years. And I've met some great people and networked with a lot of great people too. So
same.
Yeah, networking is huge. And I've met Rob Paulson. I went up to him and I said, "Hey, if they ever rebooted Mighty Max, would you do it?" And he said, "Absolutely, I would do it. I love that show. I love doing it." And I was like, "That's cool," because one of my favorite shows when I was a kid was you as the voice of Mighty Max.
Nice.
So
I talked about Gail Simone earlier. I got a great Gail Simone story. So I C2E2, and it's really early in my comics career, and her and her husband were there. His name is Rock. His name was Rocket Spouse on Twitter, and I always remember that. So I talk with them. I hand her my books and everything, and we have a nice little chat, and then I leave. Year later, she's back at Comic-Con, or at C2E2, and I'm like, I'm going to go see her, say hi, praise her for all the work she's doing. And I go to the table, and she's talking to someone, and her husband is there. And I'm like waiting my turn, being polite. And he looks at me and he points at me and goes, "Oh, you're the Guardians dude." I'm like, "You remember me?" He goes, "How could I not?" And then Miss Simone remembered me as well. And she's been very nice to me on social media. She found me on Blue Sky and she went, "Todd!" And it's like, "Miss Simone." And she followed me back. She's great. But like, those are another ones. And then I won't say who, but I met a comic creator that I heavily respected, and I basically poured out why I liked him, and he goes, "Oh, thank you," and like went on his way with his work. I'm just like, okay, I never talked to that guy again. But Miss Simone, Jimmy Palmiotti, who will be seeing at Planet Comic Con, and others, like they are so nice. So when you meet the good ones, like they'll make good memories for you.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, and great stories too. Thank you for sharing that with us. I mean, when I met Rob and he signed a poster with all the turtles on it because he was the voice of Raphael originally, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, I asked him. I said, "Would you come back for Mighty Max?" He said, "Absolutely, I would." I was like, All right, man. Cool. Because Mighty Max, with the storyline, how original that was, like with a hat taking people to different dimensions through time. Like, I mean, who doesn't want to do that? That sounds like fun to me. So that was a cool Rob Paulson story for sure. I've met some comic creators over the years. They've all been great. I mean, some of them are indie creators. Some of them have been worked, for the big labels like Marvel, DC, and all that kind of jazz. I've actually interviewed a few of them on my podcast. And I quote, you can find that on And I Quote channel. # shameless self-promotion. Yeah, conventions are great. Here's how pieces of a puzzle come together, right? So I went to AwesomeCon in Washington, D.C., one of the biggest conventions on the East Coast, right?
Right.
And Ashley Eckstein and E.K. Johnston, Ashley wasn't there, but E.K. Johnston was there. She's the writer of the Ahsoka book,
Right.
about the character of Ahsoka. It was in between the Clone Wars and Rebels. That's where the story takes place. So I didn't read the book up to that point, but I wanted to get it signed. And my friend who's a vendor there, he's an indie artist. He said he does watercolor paint. He goes by Amorable Art on Instagram. Pat Kenrick, good man. And his wife is great too. They're both great. So anyway, they said, hey, I got to go. So I didn't get a chance to meet E.K. Johnson. I missed her signing. She's like, no. Give us the book. We'll take care of it. I'm like, what? She's like, give us the book. We'll take care of it for you. The next time I see you at a convention, you'll get the book back. I guarantee it. I said, okay. So I handed them the book. And what ends up happening is months down the line, I meet up with them again in GalaxyCon in Raleigh, North Carolina. GalaxyCon is one of the bigger conventions on East, West Coast. They have different shows on different parts of the country. And I went to Raleigh and they said, hey, we didn't want to forget, but here's your book. So they gave me the book. And not only did E.K. Johnston sign the book, but they managed to get Ahsoka herself, Ashley Eckstein, the voice of Ahsoka Tano from Clone Wars and Rebels respectively, to sign the book.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it says, may the force be with you. And I'm like, holy crap. This is, as a Star Wars fan, this is like I did not expect that at all. And that's the beauty of networking with other people in the business or other people in other properties, because they will go to bat for you when the chips are down. So thank you to Pat and his wife. Thank you both so much. I love you guys. You guys are great. And I have that book. I'm never getting rid of it ever. Like, that is a staple of one's collection, like the stuff that you spoke about, Todd. Like, that stuff is part of your collection, right? So you're not going to get rid of it because it's part of who you are. It's part of your life. So
I got a story like that. My best friend Leia, she would go to me with me to C2E2 and Planet Comic Con. One year, it was like first Planet Comic Con post pandemic. Misha Collins, Castiel from Supernatural, I don't get that reference, Dean, was there, and she freaked. Like, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go see Castiel. A week before the show, she gets sick, and it lasts throughout, and she doesn't want to get me sick just in case she got COVID or whatever. So she still had the chance to the ticket or whatever to go meet Castiel. So I'm like, I'll do it for you and get the picture. So behind me was this really cool artist who used like Sharpies to do art, and one of them was of Baby, the Impala that Dean always drove. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to meet Castiel. Can I take that picture and get it in the shot? And she goes, absolutely. So she literally hands me it, and I write a note saying that I would give to Misha Collins, and it said, get well soon, Dean, ... I mean Leia. And so the picture is of me holding the Supernatural sign art piece, and then Castiel holding the piece. And when I gave that to Leia, because I met up with her later on, she basically cried. She's like, that's so beautiful. I'm never getting rid of this. I'm like, yeah, I would hope not. I had to wait like an hour for that picture. His line was that long. So,
oof.
But I did it for her.
That's great, man. That's great stuff. I mean, good things come to those who wait. So
yeah,
it worked out in this case, folks, because patience is a virtue. So try to keep that in mind as you go along the wonderful journey known as life. But yeah, conventions, very, very good to me. Business, very, very good to me. So, just live it up, guys. If you find collectibles, save them. Just keep them by you, because I got tons and tons of different pieces of art from different indie artists, fan art, if you will, and they're some of the best pieces I've ever seen in my life. I mean, some of them I would not only hang on my wall, but it's like, why didn't they hire this artist to make the cover of the book? Why didn't they hire this artist to make the promotional materials for a television series, right? Yeah. It's just, what am I trying to say?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, no. It's just one of those deals. But anyway, this has been a great episode of Freewheeling Fridays. We want to thank Todd Black for being here. Appreciate you being here, man. Great stories, great stuff. Not gonna lie. And Castiel, I know who that is, and yes, I've seen Supernatural. Not all 50 billion seasons of it, but I've seen I've seen the first 6 or 7. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So I get the gist.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Great soundtrack too, because classic rock never hurt anybody. I grew up on that stuff. But Todd, if someone wants to know more about you or purchase some of your comics, where is the best place to follow you?
Well, there are a few places. I am on Twitter at Guardians_comic, which you can see here. That's my handle for both Twitter and Instagram. I'm more active on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky. You can look me up at Todd Black. Just look for the hair. I have most of my books on Amazon, which you can find links on Twitter and Instagram. I also am on Global Comics for most of my literal comic books. Hopefully going to be posting some more of my stuff up there soon. Like I said, I do have a Kickstarter that's technically still accepting late pledges. Tokyo Blade Detectives number 9. There it is. Madness Group represent. You can still get the entire series and most of my books through there. So make your pledge if you want. And if you follow me on social media, you'll hear about my my upcoming projects because I got a lot in the works right now.
So many ideas, so little time.
Indeed.
That is the nature of the beast, my friend. Well, it was great to see you. Great to meet you. We wish you nothing but success with everything moving forward. Also, we do want to do our best to respect your time. My name is Ryan of Van Quote Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram personally at RyanRPM5, or you can follow us across all forms of social media with my YouTube channel. You can see it. Where am I pointing to? There it is. At And I Quote Channel, where we talk about all things nerdy. We embrace the nerd within you. So if you want to talk about movies, TV series, comic books, words on a page, or you got Kickstarters coming up you want to promote, or talk to us about some of the great creations you put out in the world, we want to hear about it. So check us out. Links to where you can follow Todd Black and myself are located in the description below, or you can just go to my Instagram handle at And I Quote Channel. You can follow me there and find my links there as well. So keep that in mind as we go along. Freewheeling Fridays goes down on Friday nights, of course, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for being a part of this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. And remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. And if you want to know more about the Madness Entertainment Group and the array of programming and personalities, because the Lord knows they have plenty of that going on, you can check this out. But do yourself a favor. You don't have to take my word for it.
On the tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic.